am so tired of seeing content creators be more concerned about what people will think about them than speaking the truth.
Build a boring business. That's what Codie Sanchez preaches, right? But there's really nothing boring about generating over 20 million a year. Now everyone's busy copying her contrarian thinking content on YouTube and TikTok. Meanwhile, she's quietly built an empire of 300,000 followers on LinkedIn who are in the B2B space and actually spend money and have budget. So I've spent the last few years obsessing over LinkedIn strategy. I've booked in hundreds of inbound calls successfully, and we've helped many agencies and coaches get results, such as how we helped a B2B agency add 22K MRR in 90 days, or a business coach add in 80K in revenue in 120 days. Now, I noticed something fascinating in Codie's approach that nobody is talking about, and it's the exact same strategy that I used when one of our clients closed a 250,000 deal from a single post. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how Codie's using LinkedIn to build real wealth and not just viral content. So if you're tired of posting into the void and you're ready to turn LinkedIn into your personal ATM machine, pay attention. This can be the difference between chasing likes and landing life-changing deals. So let's dive right in.
And so when I say speak to a specific person, I think the easiest way to start when you are growing a channel is if you go out and you want to be, I don't know if she's relevant anymore, but like Emma Chamberlain, where she's just like laying in her bed, kind of talking about coffee or like whatever else happens in the world in her day with no particular niche, it's really hard to grow. If you want to grow faster, you actually do the counterintuitive thing, which is you skinny it down. I want to talk to, in my world, people who want to buy laundromats. Think about how small that niche was that I started in. Laundromat buyers. I don't even know if there were people on the internet that did it, but I thought it was interesting. It was my specific niche. Then I go, okay, maybe car washes, maybe boring businesses in general, maybe people who care about business, maybe people who care about community and business, maybe people who care about an impact on the world through community and business. See how it kind of branches out? So in the beginning, you go really specific, and then after you've gone specific, you get an allowance from your heroes, your audience, to go wider. But in the beginning, they haven't given you that allowance. They don't know if they care about you yet. So you got to get permission for them to care about you.
So I really like that. That was awesome because she basically made a very strong point, which was that you want to be specific, not general. Now, when you're specific, everything becomes easier. It's easier to write your marketing message. It's easier for your audience to hear your marketing message. And it's much easier for your audience to convert because they truly believe that you understand their current state. Now, all those three things together mean that if you do specific messaging, you ultimately make more money doing it, because the right people see it, the right people hear it, and the right people convert into whatever offer that you're trying to sell. So the rule I like to say is one ICP, one offer, and at the beginning, one channel. Be very specific, be very intentional, be very clear. Now, the more detailed reason of why this works is because of resonance. Now, when you're on LinkedIn, for example, or YouTube, and you're creating content, what you're trying to do is you're trying to find resonance with a super small group of people. When you get resonance with this group of people, ideally, you want this group of people to be solution aware. That's when your job is the most easiest. When you interact with a solution-aware audience, you don't have to convince them of much. They already understand what you do, what your product is, what you're selling. So for example, if you are selling an email marketing platform, for example, if you're selling to solution-aware people, they already understand that you're competing with ConvertKit, Beehive, etc. And they understand your place in the market and why your features are really interesting. The same way that if you are a B2B business coach and you're selling agency coaching solutions, if you're able to speak directly to other agency owners, they already understand what coaching is. They already understand what courses are. They already understand what they're potentially buying from you. And it means that your marketing becomes a lot easier. So the more specific you go, the more able you are to tap into a solution-aware audience and therefore able to sell products easier. Now, this is a video about LinkedIn, so I want to make this very specific to LinkedIn. If you want to go out and speak to a very specific audience on LinkedIn and do the Codie Sanchez play, or the play that we do for our clients, there are two very immediate quick things and actions you can do. Firstly, I want to call out your ICP or the activity that you do in your LinkedIn headline. So for example, on a very basic level, it's I help agency owners scale their business, for example. You've called out that group of people, or I help people buy laundromats. It's super clear who you're helping and what you're doing for them. The second thing I want you to do is in all your hooks, literally every one of your post hooks, I want you to add these keywords in that are designed to qualify in the right people or disqualify the wrong people. So for example, Codie, if she was a client, 5-6 years ago before she got big and she was a client right now today, I would say to her, we're going to say laundromat every single hook of every single post for the next 3 months. We're going to be so clear you're the laundromat person. We're even going to get more specific. We're going to say, who buys laundromats? Is it retired doctors? Is it retired professionals? We're going to get really specific and try to call out these high net worth people, or these people that are, ambitious and that can take out the SBA loan. The whole point is I'm going to be very specific and call out an audience and call out the thing that I'm selling as clearly as possible in the hooks and in the headlines, all, let's say, above the fold or above the scroll.
I already told you, I have to feel like the video is going to serve the audience, right? So that's base level. I have to feel like on YouTube in particular, we have an avatar we talk to. We have a human every day that I talk to on YouTube that I'm trying to serve. And that is anyone who feels like, we call him Working John. And for Working John, who is he? He is somebody who wants more out of his life, probably located in the US, who is a builder and a doer and a charger, but feels like he hasn't quite hit the financial freedom numbers that he wants. He's looking for the things that will allow him to focus more of his time on the things that he loves as opposed to more of the time on the things that he has to do. And so when I'm YouTubing, I'm thinking very specifically, can we help this person? So the videos where we've done poorly is like, we did a video, we actually pulled it, we need to repackage it somehow, but we did a video that was like, here's how these like celebrities made their money. And I thought it was interesting because I was breaking down all of the influencers' businesses and like who makes the worst and why do I like this business versus that business. This audience would probably really like it. You'd be like, wait, why do you think, Reese Witherspoon's business is better than The Rock's and The Rock's is actually better than Terramana, which is George Clooney, and like what makes those businesses different and what are the multiples on those businesses? It's kind of interesting. If you're creating content, you really want to understand what's the highest ROI that I can put in front of my audience that, can make me money but also serve them. But Working John doesn't give a...
I think she nailed that on the head. Working John does not give a fuck. And that's true for your audience. Your audience does not care if you post content that doesn't resonate with them. And this kind of goes back to the previous point that I was making, was that you need to be niche enough in your targeting that you only create content. And it's very clear that you're creating content that is relevant for the, receiver or relevant for your audience. Now, the reason why Codie begins to miss, like her content begins to miss later down the line, is because she's becoming more general and more broad, because as she mentioned, she wants to make money from content and she wants to get more reach. So she's trying to do this Venn diagram of reach and money, which means naturally she's going to start testing topics that are a bit broader. So the answer for you as someone that's trying to grow on LinkedIn is you don't need to go that broad that fast. Be more specific, create really specific content that mentions the pain points that your ICP or your ideal customer persona thinks about. So if your ideal customer on sales calls is telling you, oh, we hate spending time doing this, or we hate putting money into this, or we're very frustrated with this software, speak about those things. They're already validated, they already are pain point relevant. You can be very specific about what you speak about so your audience does care and does spend attention and spend time on your content. Now, in that video, she was also mentioning a lot about YouTube, and it's really the exact same playbook on Twitter, on LinkedIn, like whatever the social platform is. She's completely correct that you're always wanting to be specific to your audience on that platform as opposed to trying to venture out too far.
We are in the most competitive business that exists in the world right now, content. Why? It's permissionless. Anybody can do it. I simultaneously have to compete with Mr. Beast giving away $1 million with, whatever, The Rock's 24-pack and whatever new movie he has coming out, with Trump and the presidential election, with the news that comes out every single day. Like, what other industry do you have where your competitors are literally the top of the attention takers in the world? It's a really interesting model. And we think that it's not that competitive because it's not that hard to start. There's no capital expenditures, money up front. There's no real barriers to entry, so you can just get going. But don't be confused for 1 second that this game is incredibly competitive, because it is. And so when I think about what I serve our users, I'm obsessive. Like, my team will tell you I'm maniacal about it, because I think every moment that somebody spends with our content is me taking a small piece of their life. Tiny little moment, because we only get so many of them. And if they are going to give me that tiny little moment, I better give them back something worthwhile. I better give them back something that maybe could create more moments in their life, and I never want to give them junk food.
So it's a really interesting point Codie makes, is that you're competing for attention in a marketplace, and everyone's attention is somewhat finite. So she is right that if you are posting on YouTube, you are competing with a Mr. Beast or someone with a way crazier thumbnail than you. But on LinkedIn, it's ever so slightly different, and I'll get into that in a second. The general high-level point Codie's making is that content quality is incredibly important. The higher quality content that you create, the more attention it grabs, and the more valuable it is for your audience, and it's not junk or fattening, which is a great phrase to use. The issue you're going to run into here is that if you try to create high-quality content for a lot of people, it gets really difficult. The easier way is creating high quality content for a small sub-segment of people. When you choose your audience very narrowly, being specific is the ultimately high quality already. And you're already calling them out and you're already giving them specific value. So most people watching this video are somewhat experts in their field. You are an expert at the very specific thing you do for that very specific person. You are probably the top 10%, the top 20%, maybe in the top 5 or top 1% of people that do that. All you need to do now is post about it on LinkedIn. Now, I say LinkedIn specifically because LinkedIn is this amazing place for B2B content. It's a place where there's not much competition. There's not a Mr. Beast on LinkedIn drying up everyone's reach. There is a very specific algorithm that essentially caters and tries to send you relevant business content that helps you solve your problems. So the point I'm trying to get to here is LinkedIn is not that competitive compared to other channels. You can be very specific about who you're helping, even saying their job title. And in that very small arena, which is not that small, it's maybe 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 people, you are the expert. You can gather their attention, you can create high quality content relatively easily, and you can book in lots of calls and get 10k impressions per post relatively easily. So here's the point here, Codie is 100% right. You do need to create high quality content. You are competing for attention, but the way to get through all of this is to be more specific and go speak to the solution aware, problem aware people that are interested and ready to buy your product or solution.
I've never met anybody that got 1 million followers from one video. And so I think, you know, if you have to choose between quality and quantity, choose quantity, it's easier. If you have to choose between acting slowly, acting fastly, act fastly, you'll have a higher data set and feedback loop coming back to you. And if you're gonna play this game, realize it's almost just like any other job in the world, which is that you have to show up consistently, you can't wait for the muse, you have to continue to execute at a high level or you're very easily forgotten about. We all are. And so, first, like in our business, first you have to you yourself have to figure out, what do I want to talk about? Who am I? What do I want to cover in this world? And then you have to think about, okay, how can I start covering that in some way, shape, or form? So that's like systems and processes. And then you have to think about, okay, now that I know what I want to do, I know how we're going to do it, how can I do it consistently? And then after you get to it consistently, you can say, how can I do it exceptionally? But I think a lot of people skip steps in between those four.
So Codie firstly speaks about the 3 rules of creating content, which I completely agree with. One is quantity, speed, and consistency. So you have to create a lot of content. So on any social platform, whether it's LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever, you want to max out the number of posts or the number of things that you can do per week without seeing an impression decrease. So for example, on LinkedIn, the lifetime of a post is around a day, just a bit under. So you want to be doing 1 post every weekday. Now LinkedIn's a business platform, so generally weekdays perform a lot better, weekends perform a little bit worse. So general rule of thumb, 1 per weekday. So you want to max out that content quantity. The next thing is you want to act fast. What that means is you shouldn't spend the next 3 months trying to debate your content strategy. You just need to get writing and get feedback data signals coming back in. So when we start with a project or yourself, what you should first do is you should go out and map the market. What that means is go into the market, look at every one of your competitors and look at what types of things they're posting. Work out, is it an educational post? Is it a strategical post? Is it a tactical post? Is it a personal post? What's the formatting of their posts? Are they using images? Are they using videos? Work out as a quick map of the ground, like what is the algorithm serving? What are those posts that those people do getting more traction? And very quickly, you're going to have this interesting collection of post ideas, maybe 10, 20, 30 posts that you know work on a handful of accounts. Those are the posts that you should be trying to emulate. So as soon as you start, you should go take those 20, 30 posts and create your own versions of those posts that are unique to you. And you should put them onto LinkedIn and you should start getting that traction straight away. So you got quantity, you got speed. Finally, you got to be consistent. Almost every social platform rewards consistency. consistency. What it means is that if you stop posting for a week, a few days, you generally see a dull in impressions or a dip. And this is the platform saying, hey, we want you to be posting every single day if we're going to reward you with more impressions. So you have to be consistent from a social platform perspective. You also have to be consistent from an audience perspective. If you've captured the attention of people in your audience, you want to keep serving them content, keep nurturing them, and keep them in your funnel. Else, what you're going to find is a competitor comes along, does a little bit better than you, or maybe doesn't do it better than you, just does it more consistently and gathers more impressions than you, and therefore they win in the long run. And there you have it, Codie Sanchez's LinkedIn advice that helped scale contrarian thinking to millions of dollars per year in revenue. Implement what I've shared, the learnings, the advice that she's given, and the commentary that I've added, and you'll be light years ahead of your competition. But here's the cold hard truth, knowing this information is only 20% of the battle. The other 80% is flawless execution day in, day out. Creating content daily, moving fast, doing it consistently. And that's why we've helped over 30 agencies and B2B business coaches implement this exact LinkedIn strategy, resulting in millions of new revenue and completely transforming businesses. You have two steps. You can either hand your keys over and have the LinkedIn specialists book in high qualified calls directly into your calendar. Now what you can do is you can scroll down below and literally book it in a Calendly session straight with me. We're going to walk through your profile, walk through your audit, and work out exactly how to help you. Or you can take the whole into your business and we'll help you do that over the next 90 days. So either way, I've hoped you enjoyed this video and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching and let me know any comments down below.